speak with families um, about college opportunities, and so glad when people are interested and want to learn more. So I did put together a relatively, I hope, short slide deck just to get us going and get us started and share some basics with you guys. But it's a small group. It seems like a wonderful, friendly group. So I'm more than happy to take questions starting right now. If you came in with a burning question, you wanted to make sure, you're really hoping that I was going to address something in particular, you can start putting those messages in the chat. But please, if you're comfortable, stay on camera, stay, unmute yourself whenever you'd like to, and just let me know that you have a question as we go through. So I'm going to go over, like I said, some basics that I hope will give you a good picture of what's available, and also how Think College can help you in the future when it's exactly the right time for you as you do your college search with your sons and daughters. So, okay. So I am Kate Weir. I work for Think College, which is located at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, as part of the Institute for Community Inclusion. So we do a number of federally, grant-funded projects, primarily all around individuals with developmental disability. In my area where I've worked since 2010 is in the area of inclusive post-secondary education, or post-secondary education for students with intellectual disability. And we are funded currently by the U.S. Department of Education. We've had that grant since 2010. And we do training and technical assistance to colleges and universities who are developing programs or improving their programs. We also provide, of course, all kinds of information to K-12 educators and families and students who are interested in post-secondary education. And we do some research in the area as well. So that's our big center, and our website, which is our major form of dissemination, although we also have a large social media presence. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about some Facebook resources that those of you who like Facebook might benefit from a little bit later on. But if you remember one thing from this presentation, just remember www.thinkcollege.net. And I'm going to share with you a few of the resources that are there. But we have hundreds and hundreds of resources. And we also have packaged some, we hope, digestible ways for families. And I'm going to point out some of those to you too as we go along. So I thought I would start. I tried it a little bit with Brittany, and we have a new video that we recently produced called Think Higher, Think College. And it's on this website, thinkhighered.net. The video, the audio, I couldn't get the audio to work properly to show it to you live here, but I really, really encourage you all to go to thinkhighered.net and watch this 4-minute video. It is, if anybody's been in the business of looking at films with this around disability, there's a filmmaker named Dan Habib who made a film several years ago now called Including Samuel, which a lot of people had seen, about inclusion in elementary school for a student with disabilities. And Dan has now produced this film with us. And it's really cool because I think for those of you who are looking at colleges and maybe already believe that it's possible, but it's a great way to share with your teachers that you're working with, your IEP teams, your transition folks, that college is possible. So it's a video that introduces you to several college students with intellectual disability. It's narrated by a fantastic young woman who's a student at Georgia Tech who happens to have Down syndrome, named Martha. So she's the narrator of the film, and it shares some important information about how college is possible. Because I think for a lot of families, the first step is you believe it. And obviously Tucker believes it. I could see it on his face. And Jacqueline's, is it a son, I think also, is believing it and wanting to go to college. And sometimes we have to work to make sure that everybody believes that this is possible and have high expectations for our kids, right? So we hope that this video is something. And then also on the website, there are downloadable resources that help you educate your teachers, your administrators, maybe even vocational rehabilitation, if anybody's been trying to work with that agency about how college can be a great next step after high school for students with intellectual disability. So sorry I couldn't show it to you live, but it's probably just as well you can watch it when convenient on your phone or whenever, and hopefully you'll find it a resource to educate others as well. So right now, one of the things that Think College is known for is that we manage the only national directory of college programs for students with intellectual disability in the United States. So this is, it's called College Search. It's on our, it's available on thinkcollege.net. You can find it right on our homepage, a link to it. And there you can find the information. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about College Search as we go, but I just want to give you an overall picture of really what's available here in the United States. So in Maryland, you can see that there's a fair, there's a number of 11 in the state of Maryland. Those numbers obviously represent the number of programs in our directory from each state. But in Maryland, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember, but someone here has a daughter that's going to the transition program in Anne Arundel. So a lot of the programs in Maryland are those transition programs because our directory lists those transition programs that are available at colleges as well as college programs for students who have left high school. And so University of Maryland is one of our newer programs in the country, just a couple of years old. And so that's one that is a 4-year, I think it's a 4-year program, but it is for students who have left high school at University of Maryland. But you can see that there's a number in, your part of the country. There's a lot in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, and so on. So all over the country, students can find opportunities to go to college. So I think this is Martha, actually. This picture is Martha on campus at Georgia Tech with a friend of hers. And so Martha's the narrator of our film as well. And so some of the things that I think the fundamentals that you want to understand about college programs for students with intellectual disability are these key features. So it is different than, going to college as you might have, or maybe someone said, they have a couple siblings that are in college already. So you might be familiar with, taking SATs and looking at your GPA and your what you took in high school and what your curriculum was. But for these programs, there are unique admissions processes and unique requirements. So it's a different admissions process into these programs than it is for getting into the college at large. And they do accept students who are non-degree seeking for the most part. I know I've talked to many parents, particularly parents of students with Down syndrome, who the student may want to pursue a degree, and that's not out of the question. But most programs start with students with a non-degree certificate program to sort of get them used to the college life and see how they do in the college classes. They can vary in length. Some programs are as short as 1 year. Most programs are 2 years in length. 2 years is, I think, the most common length of the programs, but many, and a growing number, are 4-year programs. And many of them do offer campus housing. There's about 150 of the programs that we have in our directory that have housing. They do vary in their level of inclusion. So when you think about the experience that your son or daughter, or if your son or daughter is expressing, what they're looking for, some programs that you might find in our directory are fairly separate. They may be on a college campus, but the student may not have a ton to do with the college life in general. At Think College, we're all about inclusion. And so we really support programs to be as inclusive as possible so that college students can go, and with the right supports, really participate just like a typical college student in everything that the campus has to offer. But that's something that I think parents and potential students have to sort of find out and think for themselves what they're wanting in that area. As I mentioned, you're going to earn typically a certificate rather than a bachelor's degree or an associate degree initially. And some programs do offer access to federal student aid. That is it's because typically if you're not getting a degree, you might not be eligible for federal aid. But within these programs, if they've been approved, they can offer aid, federal aid. You still have to be financially eligible, meaning you have to be relatively low income. If anybody's filled out a FAFSA, a free application for federal student aid for some of their other kids, or you did for yourself, you'll know that there are federal grants available to help pay for college, but they're for low income families. And also they do vary in their level of support, but you're always going to find the programs that we list in our directory are going to provide additional support for students above and beyond, the student just being on their own on campus. That's not how any of them are structured. But depending on the needs of your sons and daughters, you'll want to know exactly how the support is structured and how it's made available to students. Is that news to anybody here, or did you guys already kind of know generally what these programs were like? Anybody have any questions about kind of fundamentally how they operate? Sounds pretty good. Okay, sensible. All right, we'll move on. So when students are attending these programs, they're typically enrolling in at least some college courses for credit or audit. So for those of you who have kids in high school, you're aware, I'm sure your students may be taking high school classes with modifications via their IEP. And in college, if you're taking a course for credit, modifications are not allowed. But if you're auditing the course, meaning you're maybe getting just a pass-fail grade, then modifications are possible. And so the program may work with the faculty member to provide those same kinds of modifications that maybe had been successful in high school, would also maybe be available in those college courses. And again, we feel like this academic component is a really important part of the college experience, but it isn't the whole experience. These college programs are really well-rounded. They make sure that not only are they dealing with academics, but they're looking at career development and work experience. So most programs, and I think the good quality programs, students are in internships or work study or that experiences that are geared towards what they want to do when they graduate early on in their experience. Maybe not the first semester, but soon after that first semester, students are typically having some kind of paid or unpaid work experience during the school year. And ideally, again, in an area that's their career interest. They also are supported to participate in all campus life organizations. There are many campuses that are supporting students to participate in Greek life, in student government. This picture in the top left here on the slide is she's the manager of the women's basketball team in that picture. So just really getting involved in athletics and in whatever the clubs are and organizations that they're interested in. And also working on independence, either by living in the dorm and having, sort of the trial by fire of being responsible for things in the dorm, as a lot of young people do when they first go off to college, maybe the first time they really have to feed themselves or they really have to do their own laundry. Those experiences are supported with students in this program as well, but it's very intentional that independence and self-determination are really focused on as skills to be developed in these programs as well. So this slide just really summarizes again what these programs offer. So I think it's just really nice to know that the programs are well-rounded and offer a full experience with support as needed for each component. The college courses, the internships, the paid jobs, the campus life, and the independent living all are part of these programs. One question that a lot of families have, of course, for anybody when we're heading off to college with one of our kids is, how are we going to pay for it? So there are several mechanisms that are available for paying. For Adam, who's here with a 6-month-old, I think one of the things that's really I think it's changing, but over time, 20 years ago, people didn't imagine that their child with Down syndrome might go to college and so might not have saved. But now we know we can save for college, and we should be saving for college, for kids with Down syndrome, as well as all of our other kids. And so ABLE accounts and other kinds of savings plans can be really, really helpful if you have that opportunity. But if because there is typically going to be some cost to the family, with these programs. They do vary, I think, fairly dramatically from program to program in terms of the expense of the program. But I work really hard to try to find every possible overturn every possible rock that might work for a family, that might offer some support. So you can see, if you can see that, I don't know how small the slide is, but about 18 months ago or so, I did a webinar on paying for college that you can, if you go to this webpage on our website, you can watch that webinar, but there's also downloadable resources so that you can learn all the different possibilities. None of these possibilities apply to everybody. It really depends on your circumstance. But vocational rehabilitation is it can be a really good source to help pay for college. Medicaid funding can be used in some instances. There are scholarships available. I don't know how many people have ever heard of Ruby's Rainbow. Has anybody ever heard of that program? It's just wonderful, and their social media account is the most fun thing to follow ever. I always look forward to it. But Ruby's gives scholarships specifically to students with Down syndrome to go to college. And there are a number of other scholarship programs that we at Think College we track, and we do an annual publication with the deadlines and all of those things of all the scholarships that we've become aware of. So this picture on this slide is a page on our website. I think my next slide, if you're a QR code, my team right now at Think College is massively fans of QR codes. We have QR codes all over everything anymore. So this slide deck, I'll send it to Brittany. I don't think I have sent it to you yet, but I will. Or if you want to get your phone out right now and scan those QR codes, those will take you to the top one takes you to a resource that just shares information about paying for college. And the bottom one is that page that I just showed you a screenshot of before, with that resource and many other resources around paying for college available. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of the kinds of things that we hope families can find from Think College. And really, again, when the time is right, because I know you guys are incredibly busy and worrying about today and next week and so forth. And so when you're thinking about college, we hope Think College.net is just there for you and has the resources that you need when you need them. So I can stop there and see if there are any questions or comments or anything kind of just about the basics of the college programs that are available in the country. And then I have a few slides about preparing for college, if that sounds like something you guys would be interested in today. Okay, well, I'll just keep going, but please interrupt me if at any point you'd like to. So David Wessling and Kelly Kelly are two colleagues from Western Carolina University who wrote a wonderful book, really the book about inclusive post-secondary education. And they have a well-respected program at Western Carolina University in North Carolina. And so they've worked with a lot of students, and in fact, a number of students with Down syndrome specifically at the Western Carolina program. And so they really speak really strongly about family being the key to success. And I know that I'm fairly familiar with that program, and I know that families are really seen as strong partners at that program and many others, where even though you're going to be taking a slightly different role as a parent of a college student than you have now with your high school students, that you continue to be the key to success with the high expectations that you already have for your kids, the support that you'll be able to offer, and you know, allowing your child, because the college going to college for any of our kids, it's a big leap. And of course, for kids with Down syndrome, it might, you know, certainly be considered to be a bigger leap than for others. But it's such an important one to be able to go and have you trust that your kid is going to be able to do it and rise to the occasion. So families are really really an important partner in having them, because your attitudes and your belief in your sons and daughters are really key to making it all work. So this screenshot, it's a lot to look at in a slide, but this is a resource that I'm going to show you where you can download this and several other resources off of thinkcollege.net. But this just gives it sort of has a conceit around what are 20 things that families could think about doing to prepare kids for post-secondary education. And so some of them are really practical things like having a bank account and practicing with a debit card, starting to learn about budgeting and choice making, families maybe thinking about saving, learning a little bit about public transportation, or maybe just getting an Uber. These kinds of skills will come in, you know, these are the kinds of things that they may find really, really useful at college. And so being able to practice those things under your guidance and support, or being able to do those as part of their IEP while they're still in high school, can be so helpful to paving the way for their success once they get when they are going to college. I shared this hundreds of times, probably with families, and sometimes people will panic. I remember I got a little insight when one family, I had shared it with a mom, and she emailed me back almost immediately, and she said, "Oh my God, he's never been to camp. He's never been to camp. Does that mean he can't go to college?" So I don't want you to freak out if none of these things have happened, or if only a few of them have. Um, it doesn't mean you have to do all of the things, but it does give you some ideas about some things that have proven to be skills that students really can benefit from when they get to college. I'll point out one that I think is really a tough one for college, and I've met so many students where I've chatted with them about this, and that's the downtime. Because college, you guys, you know, there isn't a 9 to 3 schedule, right? There's a class. You have a class from like 10 to 11:30 in the morning, and then you maybe don't have another class for another 3 hours. And how do you use that time effectively and um, take advantage and do your homework and not just play video games? And so those kinds of things, when you think about how college feels, those are some of the things that this chart tries to highlight as ways that you can be thinking ahead about those things. But there are also things that your schools can do. And these next 3 slides, and again, I'm just going to go over them quickly. We don't have to memorize them. We're not going to read them out loud to everybody here today. But again, once you have this slide deck, and we also have this as a downloadable resource on our site. But the way to look at this is there's things that students really are expected to be able to do, or experiences that they'll have in college. And there are things that you can do in high school to think about that, like navigating campus is going to be a big one, right? So things about increasing the time and different locations and time limits that students are going around maybe their high school campus or different places in the community. So utilizing your IEPs while in high school, for those of you who are still in high school, to have some of these things perhaps as part of the goals that students are working on. So there's 3 of these slides. This one talks kind of about the academic components of college and how you can be practicing things in high school to help you get ready. And then this one is really about campus, you know, getting involved with campus. Students really find that the experience, I mean, when I taught to students, they love so much about their college, and the students that are in this short video that I referred to at the beginning, they really do a great job of highlighting all the things they love about college. They love their classes. but they really love their friendships and the people that they get to hang out with, students with and without disability, really meeting students that that treat them, you know, as equal peers, as equal college students, and that really is a profoundly important experience for students. And so, thinking about how you're going to engage with the things. There's so many great resources on college campuses, so many clubs you can join and activities you can attend, and how to figure out how to take advantage of all of those. Fitness and working out at the gym seems to be a massive thing that so many college students do, and a great place to be social. So a lot of these resources that I'm highlighting in this PowerPoint are really pulled from some resources that we have on this web page. And I'm just going to share, I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm just going to change what I'm sharing so you can see this website. If I can do that easily enough. There we go. So actually on this website, we have the video that I was just talking about. But this is called our Family Resources page. It's available in English and Spanish. And a lot of these resources and many, many more are available here. So this is a great place for you guys to start, or to return to when you have another question. So there's questions about how to get started, just some things that are, is it possible is kind of more that inspirational piece. Like, yes, it is. It's our cheerleading for Tucker and for all the kids that are interested in going to college. The 20 Powerful Strategies resource that I just showed you as a slide is there as a download. Those kinds of things are all available here. Stuff about paying for college that I referred to, and many other things. People find it really helpful to start thinking about how high school and college is different as far as rights and responsibilities. So we share some resources about that. And because I don't know if you guys have been starting to think about it, but the role of a parent really changes. And so it's a big transition for our kids, and it's a transition for us as parents as well. And then there's a number of frequently asked questions. If you just click on the little arrow, you see the answer. So it's just meant to be hopefully a good welcoming place for you guys to start and refer to. So we actually made a Rethinking College is a long film we made actually over a decade ago, but it still holds up. And so we still share that longer video on our website. But I wanted to highlight, and I don't know if anybody here is already in this group. Does anybody belong to the Facebook group we have for parents and families yet? So if you use Facebook, or even if you don't really, I'm not really a massive Facebook person anymore, but we have a group. It's a closed group. You can join it, and there's over 2,000 families from all over the country who are interested in post-secondary education, and they just ask you. People go on there and ask questions. Some people, maybe you'll say, "Has anybody know anything about the program at Temple University?" And people will say, "Oh yes, my son went there and this is their experience," or DM me for more details. People ask questions about saving for college, about filling out the application, and then other kinds of questions too, Social Security benefits and other things that come up during the transition out of high school. So it's a really, really helpful group. I encourage you, if you're interested, to just go to join and lurk a little bit and see what happens. This Friday, the presentation that I just did, and Brittany, this might be good for you to share with folks who couldn't make it tonight. Our technical assistance coordinator, her name is Chelsea, and she's fabulous. And Chelsea Stinnett is she's just starting this Friday, a First Friday Facebook Live broadcast. So this first Friday, she's going to do kind of what is a college program 101 that I just did, kind of brief presentation, but they're on the first Friday, she's just going to be online with little short Facebook Live presentations that will then be recorded and stored on the page, so that people can drop in, ask her questions, learn more about it, and also maybe talk to each other and meet other families virtually through that. So
on the public page that you can just like and follow, or is that on the parent group? Do you know?
The Facebook Live is going to be in the parent group. So but that's a good question because
Okay.
I don't know enough about Facebook. This is the first one. So I
Okay.
think what it is it may be, you may end up seeing it if you're just on our own. The Think College has a, as a
Mhm.
public page. The Facebook group is a closed group, so you have to apply, but then you get accepted to be as long as you say you are a parent or family member. And I think also that she's going to be like tagging everybody and letting them know. So she'll be communicating more directly with the members of the group as well. That's a really good group. Um, but we also do individual help with families when you're going through, if you have more questions or you're in the college search or you just feel a little like, oh my gosh, what now? thinkcollegeta@gmail.com, which is our website right here, on email right here. Well, opens up an email that goes to our help desk. And we have over a dozen technical assistance folks at Think College that can answer your questions. I do a lot of talking with families, but we have other people that talk with families as well. And we can help you, with any of your questions that you have if you want some individual support as well. So I'm going to go back to my slides, but that I think is essentially it. I just wanted to give you, I'm going to show you a little bit about College Search. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a sense of, what does it mean to go to college? What does it look like for your kids? And then where to find resources on Think College. I'll go back to my PowerPoint. So this is the college, just gives you a picture of the College Search database that we have, our directory. And there's ways that you can search by state or location. You can also search by number of different program features. The number continues to grow. I think it's at 330 right now. And we add programs as they become available to us. So that's a really great resource. And every, probably should have shown you while I was on the website a little bit about College Search, but when you're there, you can, once you look at a program, you can read a description of the program, you can find out a contact, you can see their Facebook page or if they have a website. So there's a lot of basic information that you can learn from the programs just on our site, but you can also then find links out and of course contact information for every program if you want to learn more directly from the program. So that's kind of my quick and dirty introduction to folks wanting to know more about college. So please let me know what your questions are at this point.